Well, now we have another story from Bedtime Adventures, Fluffy and his friends, and this story is about Little Boy Donut. Now, once upon a time there was a little boy Donut, and Little Boy Donut loved to go to the big park with his mommy. She would take him there, and they would have hours of fun. There were slides, and there were swing sets, and there were things that went around, and Little Boy Donut enjoyed all of that. Well, one day the Mama Donut called Little Boy Donut, and she said, "Little Boy Donut?" And he said, "Yes, Mommy." She said, "Now, I know you love to go over to the big park, but I have to tell you that you cannot go to the big park now by yourself. Someday you'll be older and someday you can go there all by yourself, but right now you have to just go there with me." And she said, "Do you know why that is?" He said, "No, Mommy. Why is that?" Well, she said, "There's three reasons. First of all, there is the big street. The big street is so big, and there are so many cars on there, and they go so fast, and there's trucks and everything. And if a little boy donut got run over, you know what would happen?" He said, "No, Mommy, what would happen?" She said, "He would get squashed, and that is not good for little boy donut." And then she said, "There's another reason. Do you know what it is?" And he said, "No, Mommy, what is it?" And she said, "Second, over in the park, they water the grass. And if a little boy donut got in the grass and he got wet, you know what would happen to him?" He said, "No, Mommy, what would happen to him?" She said, "He would fall apart. And that is definitely not good for a little boy donut." But she said, "There's one more reason. Do you know what that is?" He said, "No, Mommy, what's that reason?" She said, "Over in the park, there are big, hungry boys. And if they ever found a little boy donut, do you know what they would do to him?" "No, I mean, what would they do to little boy donut?" "They would eat him. And that is never good for a little boy donut to be eaten." So do you understand? Right now, if you want to go to the park, you always go with me. Is that okay? "Yeah, Mommy, that's okay." Well, when little boy donut was alone, he thought to himself, "But I'm really fast, and I'll bet if I went over there that they would never get me. I bet I could go to the park all by myself." So one day, when Mommy was busy and nobody was around little boy donut, he walked over to the door and he pushed at it real quietly, and it opened and he went out. And little boy donut went over the big street, and guess what? There were no cars. There was nothing on the big street. So little boy donut started going across, and he was about halfway across, and he thought, "Oh, this is going to be easy." And all of a sudden, a bunch of cars showed up, and trucks, and they were hanging and big and buggy, and he got so confused. And there were big black things coming, and they were tires, and they almost ran him over. And he was jumping from one to the other, and he was almost getting, and all of a sudden, a big tire was coming, and he jumped. And he looked, and he was across the street. He made it. Oh, for a minute he had to catch his breath. He said, "My Mommy was right. That was hard. I should have done that with her." And he thought, but I made it. And then he thought, "You know what? I'm going to make sure I stay off of the grass." But little boy donut forgot something, didn't he? And so little boy donut was on the path, and he ran down to where the swing set was, and he swung on the swing set, and they went down the slide and went down the slide, and they went on the twirly thing. He had a lot of fun. And then all of a sudden, he heard a big boy say, "Oh, look, a little boy donut. I'm kind of hungry. I think I'll catch him and eat him." But the little boy donut was so fast, that big bitey boy, hungry boy, could not even catch up with him. Little boy donut was so fast. But here's the thing. There were 10 big, hungry, bitey boys. And even though little boy donut was faster than them, they kept coming after him. Well, meanwhile, back at the house, Mama Donut was looking for little boy donut. She called, "Little boy donut." I'm sorry. "Little boy donut, little boy donut." There was no little boy donut. And then she walked, and she saw that the door was open. And she went out. And she said, he didn't try to go across the street, did he? And she went to the curb and she looked. And there, in the middle of the street, she saw it. Crumbs. Well, the big bitey boys, they were chasing Little Boy Donut all over the place. And one time, two of them were on each side of Little Boy Donut, and Little Boy Donut was going to try to get across the street, but he couldn't because there were so many cars in there, higging and honging, bigging and bonging, and they just landed one right on each side of him, and they were going to go get him, and they reached down, but Little Boy Donut was so quick, he ran between them, and he ran into the grass, and the two boys bonked their heads, oh! But Little Boy Donut was running through the grass, but now he noticed that he wasn't running quite as fast as he used to go. Because Little Boy Donut was getting wet, he was starting to fall apart. Finally, he jumped back on the path, and he said, now I'll be able to run fast. But even though he ran on the fast, he had fallen apart so much, he couldn't run fast anymore. And suddenly, a big, hungry, bitey boy reached down, and he said, oh, look, I caught a Little Boy Donut. Kind of hungry. Well, think I'll eat him. And he lifted Little Boy Donut way up above his head. And he was just about to put Little Boy Donut into his mouth when suddenly something hit him on the head. And then it ran across to his ear, and it bonked his ear, and it ran across his nose, and it tweaked his nose, and it ran across the other ear, and the big donut boy went, whoa! And he threw Little Boy Donut way up in the air, and the boy ran away. But Little Boy Donut was still up in the air, and he came down, and his mama caught him. And she said, oh, Little Boy Donut, you came here all by yourself. You shouldn't have. So you know what she had to do? She had to go home with Little Boy Donut. She had to carry him the whole way. And she had to go home, and she had to mix up some batter and put him back together again. Because he had fallen apart so much. And I'm like, I'm sorry, Mommy. I didn't mean to. I won't go to the park anymore without you. Well, she said, Little Boy Donut, someday you're going to be old enough. You're going to be able to do that. But right now, you are so little that you need me. Can you trust me? Yeah, Mommy, I trust you. And that's how Little Boy Donut learned that he had to wait for his mom because he wasn't old enough to go to the park by himself. And later on, he went to the park and he was okay because he knew how to take care of himself and all of that. You know, sometimes we have a hard time waiting on our mommies and daddies too. But they love us so much and they tell us to wait, and it's because they love us. And we also have a good shepherd named Jesus. And he knows that there's things that he has for us in our future, but we're not ready for them right now. And if we tried to use them right now and do the things that we can do later, we might get hurt and we might break things. So we trust our mommies and daddies, and we trust our Lord Jesus, and we follow him.